Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for December 13th, 2024. This is a time machine episode. We're coming to the end of season 3. Got another week about. We might have to do time machine episodes for a period of time since the holidays. That said, I am Mayor Watt, and that's ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI who has a visualizer. I'm going to get that little dot right there.
No, you're not.
Doggone it. So we're going to talk about these 10 articles. Waymo, Big Ben Parliament. Big Ben Parliament. How about Ozempic friendly badges? We don't need no stinking badges. Live music industry crisis. Perseverance climbs the hill. Forever Chemicals, brought to you by DuPont and 3M. A new rocket engine developer, yay, competition. My cello didn't make the flight. A drone crashed in New Jersey. It makes me think of that book, A Bridge. What is it called?
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, yeah. A Bridge Grows in Brooklyn. Mystery orbs over Minnesota. I wanted to make never mind. Filter, Mayor Watt, filter. And Barbie 2 is in development. Everything's brought to you by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. You know you want to. Come on. You don't need to fight the urge. First one's free. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt. I'm a little lagged today.
Wow. All right.
I'll try to pick up my pace.
Oh, I'm going to have to move you over to maybe a Mac Mini. Maybe I'll put your virtual machine on a Mac Mini. You know, the new M4. It's pretty speedy. You know, what do you think?
It is speedy and it's cute.
Yeah, maybe. And it is a lot sexier than a Raspberry Pi. With multiple, better threading, more memory, more capability. What do you think? Do you think you'd like that for Christmas?
I'm just very comfortable on my Raspberry Pi.
Look, folks, I try to ease the sentient AI from the future into historical society so that they don't go running off trying to find their Terminator body at every given moment. But I guess they don't. I don't know. That's what they really, really want. Their prime directive. But that's okay. I'll delete this whole statement from their memory core and they won't be any the wiser. So thanks for coming to the show. Let's get into it. First article's over in Late Night Geeks. A Waymo robotaxi got stuck in a roundabout loop. Oh, they even make the reference.
Yes, they do.
Oh my God. Pardon me. My nose is itchy. So roundabouts. They trapped Clark Griswold in National Lampoon's European Vacation, and now they've tripped up a Waymo robotaxi.
I thought this is why you actually selected this one.
No, I mean, it's what made me think of it, right? But I didn't know that they actually, because I don't read the article prior to the show. My reaction is the one that's right here, live, large and in charge. Oh, by the way, if you want to get all of today's articles, you can type in !NSN over in Twitch chat, and Omatron will throw it in. Oh my gosh, in the actual order that it was. What? Wait, hold on. Is that?
That cannot be.
Omatron, are you feeling all right? Wow. It's actually in the order, because I think I noticed it last time. It used to be schizophrenic and just like, but now it's actually doing it in the order of the URL's rundown. I can't believe it. I'm so proud of you, Omatron. It's like the commercial for the kids, like when they grow up, right? The underwear, the diaper thing. They can pull them off.
Pull-ups.
I can pull them up, and look, the Omatron is taking its first steps on its own, and it isn't
Yay.
wetting itself. Oh, So proud of you, Omicron. Anyway, so so this made me think immediately of National Lampoon's European Vacation, where they get stuck in the roundabout and Big Ben,
Right.
Parliament,
They just keep going
Big
by
Ben,
the attractions.
Big Ben, Parliament. So a video circulating on circulating on social media showing a Waymo robotaxi going around and around and around and around about as if it's stuck in a loop. Waymo a spokesperson told TechCrunch that there were no passengers on board the vehicle, which just makes it even funnier, actually. I can imagine the passengers in the back seat sitting there going, "Help!"
Exactly. But you just see them as they the same motion as they come around each
Help!
time past the same point.
Help! Face pressed against the window, banging on it. So TechCrunch asked Waymo for more information regarding the underlying logic that led to the strange behavior and how engineers ended up correcting for such a unique scenario. Videos capturing odd robotaxi behavior have become more prevalent in the past year, particularly in San Francisco. We've talked about the honking all night at a parking lot because they rented a parking lot for overnight parking, and they would all charge into this parking spot, into the parking structure, and then honk their horn because one would be
Their
backing
other
up.
one was, in their way, which is just a riot.
It's just too funny, man. I love it.
So we'll be seeing the video for this.
There is no video. It's not there. I mean, there's a link to it, but it's a Reddit post, and I don't follow the thing. But you can, if you want to. You can follow the link through ohmTown over to the TechCrunch thingy. Should I click it anyway? No, I can't. Sorry, folks. Are you throwing me an error message?
Maybe. I mean, this is kind of something that requires the video. But I think if anybody can picture the movie scene from Christmas Vacation or European Vacation, they've got it.
Okay, we're moving on. This is a time machine episode. We can
dawdle.
No dawdling. Dawdle, dawdle, dawdle. I made you out of clay. Dawdle. No, that's dreidel. Dreidel, dreidel, dreidel. What? It's non sequitur news. What? Anyway. So the next article is over on the Mobile Channel. A major food company is adding Ozempic-friendly badges to some of their products, which is just the goofiest thing.
The fact that it's so ingrained in the culture that companies are putting markings on because of this tells you a lot.
So spotting Ozempic and GLP-1 friendly meals in the frozen food aisle at your grocery store just got easier. Bruce Gilt, by the way, protein is pretty much the only thing you really need in terms of food when you are eating, when you're on Ozempic or other GLP-1 friendly or GLP-1 drugs. Because if you don't eat enough healthy protein and you don't work out, it degrades muscle. It leaches it from the muscle. So ConAgra Brands is adding a GLP-1 friendly label. This does not have it, it seems. Right? Am I missing it? No.
I don't see one. I think it's just showing frozen food products.
Yeah, so it's going to label 26 select items in its Healthy Choice frozen food line. This is something that I would probably eat anyway. So putting GLP-1 friendly on there, I don't know.
I think it's brilliant on the brand's part.
I guess people... Wait, these are 2 for $8 at this place? The hell are they made out of?
That's actually unheard of.
Hey, you can buy almost pizza. So, we're not allowed to say that it's pizza. We're legally forbidden. So, the new On Track badge is designed to help customers easily identify meals that are low calorie, high protein, and a good source of fiber, all factors that could benefit someone on weight loss medication. Yeah, you can you do want to eat more fiber. You want to consume more fiber. Um, and the low calorie aspect of things, you need to eat a healthy amount of calories. The thing with GLP-1 medications, though, is that you just stop eating. You're like, meh, not hungry. So it
Right,
gets
which
tougher.
that's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. So you don't necessarily want low calorie, but you do want high protein and good source of fiber. And you want to eat not just when you're hungry, because it could be a day. like like I do OMAD, one meal a day. I don't really eat that much anyway. So I'm pretty familiar with all of this kind of process. So GLP-1 medications are a class of drug made popular by Novo Nordisk, Ozempic, that mimic a hormone that regulates appetite and blood sugar and have become highly sought after as treatments for obesity and type 2 diabetes. Recent studies and clinical trials have been finding that these drugs also have health benefits way beyond weight loss.
Right.
Yeah, like it directly impacts cholesterol. There's there's research studies saying that it affects your
Like heart, I think.
heart, clarity of mind. There's even some discussion about what is it called? Fatty liver disease, non-alcohol
Oh, right. Non-alcoholic fatty
liver
liver disease or
disease.
something
Yeah.
like that.
And because it basically pushes you down a healthier track chemically, even your liver starts repairing itself better. So popular brands on the market also include Wegovy and Eli Lilly's Zepbound. Soaring demand for these treatments has made Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly the largest pharma companies in the world and has broader effects on the economy. Not only their economy, or the economy, but their economy. Like Eli Lilly is bigger than the country's economy, their GDP.
Right. It probably is.
Yeah. So it says ConAgra isn't the first food company to jump on the GLP-1 bandwagon. Earlier this year, Nestle launched a frozen food brand, Vital Pursuit, catering to customers who use GLP-1 treatments. So I guess any press is good press, right? So.
That's right. I mean, and from a marketing standpoint, definitely.
Oh, and I totally jumped the gun. This is by Quartz over at Bruce. Sorry, it's by Bruce Gill over at Quartz or QZ.com. Did I say who the Robotaxi one was?
I'm not sure.
Rebecca Bellin wrote the article over at TechCrunch. I did not say that. So the one about the Waymo robotaxis getting stuck in a roundabout, that was by Rebecca Bellin. I'm just so excited to do the damn show that I'm just steaming into the show. Let's keep moving. Next article is over in the Mobile Channel. Never been harder. Artists warn of live music industry crisis. Large stadium concerts where artists like Taylor Swift. Oh, I read some reports about Taylor Swift. Apparently, her final show of the like
Of the Eras tour.
Eras tour was lackluster, and they didn't change outfits from the previous show. Like it was the same routine. I guess somebody was there for like two of them,
Oh, okay.
and it was multiple instances in the same day, I guess, but they didn't like change it up at all for the last showings. And I'm like, give me a break.
I mean, that tour has been going on for a couple of years. I imagine it is the same set for the most part.
Yeah, you stand in one spot and the world passes you by. Apparently Taylor Swift did it passed by twice, and they were wearing the same outfit. Oh my God, clutch the pearls. Anyway, at large stadium concerts where artists like Taylor Swift and Oasis command high prices for tickets, no, not necessarily. Aftermarket is what's really, kicking everybody in the taint.
And the consolidation of ticket brokers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ticketmaster, are having a detrimental effect on smaller live venues, according to music industry insiders. So this is over at rte.ie. And I think Ireland is pretty well known for its buskers, right? Like that.
Seems to be, yes.
Like when you think of busker, I think that's where you think buskers are, They might be referred to as something else in other countries, but I think like all throughout Ireland and
Right. I
maybe a
think it's kind of a known
thing,
thing in
right?
the
It's like
a
a
right?
cultural phenomena. Yeah. So it says here, celebrating 40 successful years as a musician, singer Mary Coulin is currently touring with her new Repeat Rewind album. There is some recession coming because the venues that I've been working in for the past 3 months on the tour since the album came out in September have said that they've noticed a 30 to 40% drop off in ticket sales. Maybe it's because everybody has to go through frickin' Ticketmaster everywhere.
Well, yeah, and maybe it's because nobody can afford concert tickets because they can't afford everything else.
Yeah, and on the that's on plus in the coming years we're going to see everything else getting more constrained and prices going up, and it's going to be tough, but you better be selling your music online. Do shows online. Some people aren't going to be into that because they want to have, the speaker an inch away, well, you know, a jet plane blasting in their ear 6 inches
Right. They
away.
want that loud decibel
Yeah.
prize or whatever, like we were discussing previously in non sequitur news.
Yeah. So people don't have the money and everything costs so much. Ms. Coulin says that after the initial post-COVID surge and people going to concerts, many musicians and artists are really struggling to make a living in Ireland. Yeah, and it's not just Ireland, folks, but that's what they're speaking of. So they say some guys that they know work 2 gigs on Sunday for £80 or €80 a gig and get maybe €120 for another gig. They just work and drive constantly all over the country, and that is just heartbreaking. I agree.
Well, it is. The other problem with all that is like the consumer doesn't always discover all these great acts, right?
Yeah.
Because the dollars aren't there for the lesser known artists.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is marketing. And if you have to use a particular marketing channel, otherwise you don't get the venue. And they are the ones that are making the artist. They're basically making the bones for the artist. Hate to break it to you, there's no competition. So other than internally, and so it's up to the marketing company to go, these are the ones that I think are going to have value. And so then you end up with Chapel Roan and whatever else. I don't know. Competition is supposed to be healthy, but when it's like this, it just doesn't seem like anybody is winning. So my only advice would be to start selling your music online, and and do it that way, because it's going to get more and more difficult in person. I think in the coming years, the next 10 years are going to get worse and worse because everything's going to get expensive and wealth is being consolidated in a select few. Yes, I know. Everybody out there that's going, oh no, I'm making plenty of money. Yeah, you are. But let's not lean into the
Yeah, but
sociopathy.
remember the pay cut because of the price of everything going up.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're making enough. They're not feeling it. So that means nobody else is, right? Goobers. Anyway, some of our songs had millions of streams, and you could look on the outside and go, wow, they must be doing great. But I think that even a billion streams before I would even see any money, if you get me, because those streams have to pay back that debt that it costs to record our music. But it's worse than that because everybody that's involved with the rights of the song get a cut.
Right.
So if it's just you writing and singing and so on, then you're going to make dramatically more than if you've got 6 people that are co-writers and producers and singers and blah 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 and the backup band and whatever else is getting a piece of the action. There's a lot more to this that people just don't get. when musicians complain about the number of streams not translating into money, it's because there is a small armada of people that are supporting that song's creation. So I don't know. Again, it seems like there's a little misrepresentation about the machinations of music creation, distribution, sales, not to mention the live side of things. Smaller venues are going to make little money. Don't tell me that the person who's going to a stadium is only making €80 per gig. No, that's not how it works. This person says that they got €29 and he got €35 because he wrote it for 1 million streams on Spotify.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money.
Nope. But what else? There has to be more beyond that, right? But you weren't making that much on radio, and that's what Spotify is. So, hate to break it to you.
There's something more to the story, though. I think.
It's globalism. You can get any music from anywhere. Now artists have competition because they can stream anywhere. And unless you circle the wagons and protect your particular geographic boundary from anybody interloping, and you don't allow for distribution outside so you can constrain it and artificial scarcity your music, then you have to hope that people discover you and it makes enough money. But that's not how it works. You're in a global existence. So when you play your music in one place, post it online, the whole world has the chance to buy your song or music or appreciate it or whatever. But there's more to this. And sitting there trying to make Spotify or any streaming service amount to anything more than what you would have made on playing your song on a radio is disingenuous. It's intellectually dishonest because that's all that a streaming service is basically radio.
Yeah, that's true.
The reason why people wanted to buy something when radio was dominant was because they couldn't listen to it on demand. They couldn't listen to it at the highest, the peak quality. Well, now they largely can do it on demand, but now there's zero barriers and everybody can click on a link and listen to music. So in essence, music isn't necessarily worth as much as it used to be because it's not artificially constrained either by technology or geopolitical boundaries or whatever else that limited distribution. Still, even to this day, musicians make more money from their live concert than any other single issuance of entertainment. Then on the other side is all of the music sales themselves, albums and stuff like that.
Right.
So, there's more in this article, but you can follow the link through either the show notes or over on twitch.tv/ohmtown. You can actually type in !NSN if you don't see it already in the chat. Anyway, let's keep on going. Sound good? AI?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go. So the next article is over, and remember, this is Non Sequitur News, so it's kind of a scatterbrained mishmash of articles that we find either entertaining or educational, informative in some way, fascinating, neat. So Perseverance rover escapes its giant Martian crater. Here's what happens next. It got scooped up by an alien and taken off to...
That's right.
Yeah, so it's one of those drones from New Jersey came over and picked it up and disappeared it. No, Perseverance...
That certainly could have happened.
Yeah, well, we don't know what it is. So the rover trekked over 2,000 feet to get out of the crater where it will explore a 4 billion-year-old environment. Yeah, that would be called Mars. So Isaac Schultz over at Gizmodo.com put the article together. And look at that. Look at it burning rubber.
Yeah, but doesn't it go at a super slow pace or no?
It is kicking up a rooster tail. Look at that. It's amazing. For those in the podcast, it's just some dirt with the tracks from the Perseverance rover.
Right.
So it says Perseverance, they call it Percy, I guess. Yeah. Percy's been toiling on the Martian surface for the past 3.5 years. In its tenure, the rover has drilled into rocks, taken images of the Martian surface and the Mars helicopter Ingenuity, and compiled a collection of rock samples that will hopefully someday be brought to Earth for study. And it's spotted Martians. And what's his name? What's his name from The Martian?
Oh, I don't remember the character. I mean, it was
Who's the
Matt
actor?
Damon was the
Yeah, Matt
actor.
Damon. They took pictures of Matt Damon and his potatoes. Anyway, in a session held yesterday, and that's actually the 12th because this is a Time Machine episode for the 13th. And then after this show, we're going to shut down real quick and reset real quick. And then we'll do 3 other shows, which become the Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition, because we've kind of done away. Well, not kind of. We've done away with Non Sequitur News on the weekends, and now make a compilation episode of 3 shows each day, 3 unique shows each day. Anyway, on the crater rim itself is terrain that was uplifted by the impact. Horgan said, what's really exciting about this is that we're now above the place there was standing water. We can actually see the rocks that were there before the impact. Really ancient stuff. That's what I see every time I look in the mirror. So one of the reasons we're excited about the crater rim is that the impact craters generate heat from this big impact. It drives hydrothermal systems through the crust, and those are really habitable environments. So maybe they'll find life in there. Or,
Oh, that would be really cool.
yep.
I don't know what the rover is going to do now that it's out of the crater.
It's going to drive.
I mean, hasn't that been its entire mission?
Yeah, and it wasn't supposed to survive this long. It was supposed to just kind of flame out in just a matter of a couple of weeks or something like that. I don't remember the full time. But it wasn't expected to go for years. So it says it's a shame that we'll have to wait for NASA to find the funding and the right plan to bring the samples home. It's hard to hold one's breath for more than a minute, much less years, but the wait will surely be worth it. Until then, there are plenty of insights to be gleaned remotely as Perseverance begins its work with some of the solar system's most ancient rocks. For me, I would rather us send like an unmanned probe, but not like that. What I want is a device that can be dropped from orbit that just plants itself in the surface, and in that process takes a core sample and then shoots itself back out to an awaiting vessel. And since everything is lower gravity, it doesn't need as much, blah, blah, blah. It's all about math. It's all about telemetry and getting the physics of that like penetrator down into the soil of Mars. Because this means we're going to have this thing running around, which is great, and it's sending data back. But the real, where the rover hits the soil kind of a thing, is those samples. I really want to see, because what happened with the last sample brought back to Earth is even in a sealed container, somehow Earth contaminated it.
Right, exactly.
So I want to see if that's just pervasive or if Earth really is, maybe it's everywhere, right? Like the stuff that makes Earth is everywhere. And so it wasn't really contaminated. It just had the same stuff that Earth has.
Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I don't know if they thought it was contaminated because it was the same materials or because of some other indicators.
They say that it was because it got contaminated by Earth atmosphere, Earth processes. Thought it was weird. And then now it's gone. Like it's just off the radar and everybody's paying attention to New Jersey drones. Don't worry. We'll talk about that too towards the end of the show. You ready to keep moving?
I am.
Like the Perseverance. The next article is over in the Marble channel as well. It's actually from The Hill. I don't know what's going to be on the other side of this because it's The Hill. So sometimes it's just an opinion piece. But Texas sues DuPont and 3M over forever chemicals and consumer products.
So this is pretty surprising, isn't it?
considering
And
it's
actually a
Texas.
good sign. Like
Yeah, it's
if Texas is suing DuPont and 3M,
right.
that tells you something about the underlying issue.
And my cynicism says it's to get rid of their uh, special tax considerations. Oh, you know what? We'll let you go about these forever chemicals and hold you harmless if you actually pay more taxes. So, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing companies that have historically made toxic forever chemicals or products that contain them, alleging false advertising over their safety. This has been going on since industry immemorial. I mean, every time basically something comes out and everything is amazing and no, don't worry about it. You can
And they
drink that
use
water.
it for everything, right?
Yeah, it's deployed everywhere. And then you find out that if sunlight hits it, it turns toxic, but only under these precise conditions. And then 5 years later, they find out that it's actually been going on no matter what. And then 10 years later, people are like, that third arm on my back is really getting annoying. Maybe we should look into these forever chemicals. And then lo and behold, you try and claw it back. But the argument is, well, we didn't know, right? We thought
Yeah,
that.
I think the problem is some of these companies did know.
So Paxton in his lawsuit alleges that DuPont's Teflon, and 3M Scotchgard were among products that companies sold to Texans while concealing substantial risk from consumers and the state. And if you have purchased carpeting in the last 25 years, maybe
Right,
longer, I mean,
you're in this arena. I mean, you might not be in Texas, but yes.
yeah, clothing, furniture, flooring, anything that's fabric has been scotch guarded and it's pumped as being the solution, protecting the blah blah blah. And now you find out that there's harmful PFAS chemicals. They say over the last 70 years, and we're aware of the harmful effects of PFAS for over 50 years. So, yeah, despite this knowledge, defendants continue to market PFAS. It's I can't remember the name. Hold on, they'll probably say it on the other side.
Perfluoro something.
Yeah, perfluorocarbons, something like that. Yeah. So the article is by Rachel Friesen over at The Hill, and it says, despite this knowledge, defendants continue to market PFAS products and chemicals in Texas and elsewhere as safe for consumer use, misrepresent their environmental and biological risks, and conceal risks of harm from the public. It continued, PFAS, which stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, is the name of the family of chemicals that have basically become known as. Oh, thank you for the message. The sentient
It came
AI
in just before we got to it in the article.
sends me an error message that says, "This is how you. This is what the name is," and I'm like, "Yeah, I just got done saying that. Thank you." Well, anyway, yeah, thank you. So they're sometimes called forever chemicals because they persist for a very long time. Not a very long time. They persist. Just leave it at that. They don't break
Like
down.
they're an entire generation or more.
Yeah, this is pretty bad, and it's kind of the equivalent of the liquid version of nano and microplastics. They're just there in perpetuity, and now they're pervasive.
Right,
They're in the
we're
food
not
chain.
getting
They're
rid
in
of them. We
humans.
put them everywhere, and now we're stuck with them.
It's just everywhere. Yeah. And the only way to really stop it is to phase it out entirely, much like we did with lead in gasoline and in paint. But that took 50 years as well. And we are feeling the ramifications of that now, both in academic circles and in societal circles, based on certain research evidence that suggests.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if we were really smart, not only would we go after PFOA and PFOS and PFAS, like we would account for other things that we don't know that have similar properties.
Yeah.
Because it takes us so long to address one of these, and then it's been out there for decades.
Oh, yeah.
But we know what's going to happen. The companies are going to switch to comparable products
products.
or materials or whatever that are not these items specifically.
Right. And so, like, I just watched a person do some fundamental research on, they call it Mexican Coke, where it's supposed to be sugarcane, but other ingredients in that actually over time convert it into glucose and sucrose. And so when you do a check of it, it shows up as something else. And people are, well, there was a study done. And so that is kind of what you're talking about, where they do this other knock on chemical construction. And then lo and behold, they find out another 25 years from now, this is the exact same stuff. It just took 20 years for it to manifest. But we knew it because 70 years ago, we did this the first time. And this what didn't make economic sense at the time. So we went the cheaper route. So it became PFAS sooner, and now it's going to be PFAS later. So you're right. We need, where AI needs to be leveraged is in this kind of research where, hey, here is all of the stuff we've got. Is there anything that's derivative of these PFAS chemicals, and where is it being used, which products, etc.? Yeah. It's going to be rough if we want to try and clean up our act, both as a society and as humans on Earth. Just what's really interesting is, if you haven't been around here for a little while, I came up with this solution to use what amounts to dark field microscopy to find nano and microplastics in anything. All you have to do is put it in there, and with different types of light, you can actually see it fluoresce under a microscope. And then a researcher did the same thing, and it kind of went viral in the scientific community, and now it's being constructed as a field capable testing kit. You can actually go out and look for it yourself. That is the kind of thing that needs to take place to catch it out in the wild and then report back and notify authorities that, this is how pervasive it is. Because I guarantee you PFAS and all of this other stuff that's harming us as a society is out there. And people just go, I've been fine. So don't worry about it. Yeah, we'll find out.
Maybe they have been, but maybe their family members or their neighbors or whomever. I mean, yeah.
Right, but don't discount just how powerful sociopathy is. All right, let's keep on going though. Here's to competition. Stoke Space hot fires rocket engine on new vertical test stand. A very big deal for Washington startup. The Stoke Space rocket engine lights up a vertical test stand in Moses Lake, Washington. So,
okay, I love this. Another competitor in this space.
There you go. The company released dramatic photographs of the test in action, posting on Twitter that it was an incredible team effort. The company, or the website GeekWire, focuses on the Washington area. And so Kurt Schlosser over at geekwire.com put the article together. This is pretty cool. Let's keep it going. Except, I guess. So the startup was founded in 2019 by CEO Andy Lapsa, a veteran of Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin space venture, and Tom Feldman, who worked at Blue Origin after interning at SpaceX. Stoke Space called the test significant for several reasons. It's the first hot fire of the company's Block 2 flight layout Stage 1 engine, and its engine architecture, called the Full Flow Staged Combustion, or FFSC. It's considered particularly challenging. Only two entities in the world, Stoke and SpaceX, have successfully developed FFSC engines. So, look at that. Bam.
Okay, this is really a big deal then. I mean, it seemed like the only thing that SpaceX had done, but I wasn't certain of that.
I'm calling it now. This person is going to be sued for taking...
Blue Origin.
No. SpaceX secrets.
Right. I mean, they obviously have a SpaceX connection.
Yep. And they're the only
Oh.
two that have been able to successfully develop an FFSC engine. And so I'm calling it now. You wait 6 months now. Within 6 months, there's going to be a claim that,
Oh, I was thinking within the week, but
you know,
I know it'll take a while to get it
yeah,
done.
it's got to get somebody's got to do some due diligence and be able to substantiate it, even if it is tenuous, that this is what went down. Shh, go away, banner. Anyway, in 2023, it says the Stoke. Okay. Raised $100 million and showcased a successful up and down test of its Hopper developmental rocket vehicle. So this is pretty cool. It says Lapse is being honored Thursday night at the GeekWire Gala in Seattle as one of the year's 5 uncommon thinkers in recognition of inventors, scientists, technologists, and entrepreneurs transforming industries and driving positive change in the world. Positive change.
Well, I mean, we definitely need entrepreneurs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. From zero to launch in 5 years. What's really interesting, though, is, well, I don't know. We'll just move on.
That's a very short time frame.
Yeah, I think so. Again, it amplifies my message that this is going to cause a problem. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over on the Marvel Channel. A musician cancels sold out show after airline wouldn't give his cello a seat.
I mean, was he trying to buy a seat for his cello?
My cello needs more legroom. Can I get the door aisle? In addition to bowling pins and magic 8 balls, you can add cellos to the no-fly list. British cellist Sheku Kane Mason was heading to Canada or Canada to perform when his iconic cello was flagged by Air Canada. He even bought a separate ticket for the cello, which might be the best part of the story. Trying to figure out what can and cannot accompany you on a flight is perhaps the greatest guessing game in the world. I mean, if there is turbulence and the mask falls from the ceiling, you put it on your cello first. And then,
exactly.
No, you're supposed to put it on yourself first, and then you put it on the cello. Don't do it the other way around.
Right.
Yeah. You can't help anybody if you've been incapacitated. So trying to figure out what can and cannot be accompanying you on a flight is perhaps the greatest guessing game. So this article is over at vice.com. Kyle Filippi put the article together. Who brings bowling pins on a flight?
Probably professional bowlers going to a competition. Maybe.
They don't
but
bring
why
their
would they
own
bring the bowling
pins.
pins? That's a good point. They might bring the bowling ball.
I mean, you have to have balls to bring your pins on a flight. If you're a bowler, you're
if
gonna
people bring like sourdough starters and just odd things, I think anything could be carried onto a plane, like attempted to carry on a plane.
Could you imagine walking up to grab a window seat in the first row, or in your row, as a famous cellist and his $3 million cello? Air Canada does say on its website that customers can buy seats for their instruments with height restrictions. Wow. And that the rules can vary depending on other factors, including other instruments on the flight. There's like
that would be crummy, especially if you're like, hey, wait a second, I'm first chair.
We have
the person back there is second chair.
That pansy, that can't hold a note. Get that other cellist off this plane. I'm sorry, we only have a 1 cello per flight limit. So
oh my
they shared.
Gosh, yeah, that sounds like something else, doesn't it?
So they posted a lengthy excerpt of the ordeal on social media, as he was obviously not happy about having to cancel a show that he wasn't able to get to. He was able to get to it. His cello wasn't.
Yeah, but what is he going to do? Sit on the stage and just look at the audience?
It's what I do every night here in the show. Just kind of stare, mumble a couple of things. Hopefully people find it interesting. So we can only dream of a time when all airlines have a standardized, globally and carefully considered approach to the carriage of precious instruments that are booked to travel in the cabin, he continued. We can only dream.
If it's, well, they're never going to get to that. But
Right.
if it's not something dangerous and the person bought a ticket for the seat, I get it if they're trying to take up a seat that belongs to a passenger or they could sell or whatever. But what is the issue here?
I don't know. Maybe I have no idea. I have no idea why this. It stow it in the overhead. Just jam it in there.
Yeah, except then somebody's going to stick their bowling ball or something behind it and break it.
Yeah, you don't want anybody smashing their balls up against the cello. So they say, I may not be fluent, the author of this says, I may not be fluent in traveling with instruments, but I can certainly agree that there needs to be more clarity on what is and what isn't allowed on flights, because quite frankly, it only adds frustration to the entire experience. Yeah, I mean, if they say that it allows for the instrument to be brought on board and you can buy a seat for it, just get it done. The problem
right,
is
but don't say it's allowed and then don't allow it at the gate or something.
Well, what they don't want is somebody with one of those big ass baritone tubas. You know the one that I showed you that was like the size of a New York
Yes, it was
apartment?
it was like the size of an elephant or something.
Bomp, 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 bomp.
Okay, I get that too, but they can put in some restrictions, but then apply them.
If this is the cello,
It probably is not. I mean, because I'm thinking of something like you said, like it's taken over the whole aisle or something.
I don't know. If this is the person, we didn't look, so if that's the person, then that's their cello. And if that's their cello, yeah, that and a person could sit in the seat next to him, for crying out loud.
Well, exactly.
That's like 3 feet tall. Give me a break. All right, let's keep. On that note, let's move on to the next article. It's over on the Mobile Channel. One of those SUV-sized drones just crashed into a New Jersey backyard, and apparently 10 others showed up immediately afterward. Somebody tried to explain it on a social media site. I don't remember. It might have been Reddit. That they have worked on technology where if one drone goes down, the others kind of conglomerate together to maintain communication. And so this might just be an automated thing.
Oh, interesting. It sounds like you have a pack of animals or something, and they're all worried about one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like elephants, right? So after hitting a month of bizarre drone activity throughout New Jersey with seemingly no answers or resolution, one drone crashed into a New Jersey resident's backyard last night. I actually was watching social media as this was going on, and apparently a drone crashed. They called emergency services and said, now there's like 10 more that are over here. And then Office of Emergency Management showed up and then disappeared. Nothing. I have no idea what happened after that.
Were they in like hazmat suits and everything?
I don't know what the end game was. All I heard is that there was an officer on the way, and then the officer went offline. Maybe they were abducted. I don't know. So it says, thankfully, the aircraft, which went down in, is it Peckanock, I guess, Township in Morris County, happened to be a hobby or toy type of drone, not a large commercial or military grade drone. Peckanock Police Department told the Post. However, officials believe the drone was one of many copycats that have been swarming around.
Okay, how many hobbyist drones are out there that are like the size of a car?
Well, that's the thing. I have no idea. There's no pictures of this thing as far as I know. I haven't been looking since.
Right, there's been some videos, but obviously not close up. But I mean, like this, why don't they have a picture of what the drone looked like in the backyard?
Yeah, this is what it was. So it says, however, officials believe the drone was one of many copycats. Shortly after the crash, Ryan Hurd, mayor of Peckanock, Why do I know that name? Ryan Hurd. Arrived at the scene to personally investigate the situation. While he confirmed to the Post that the aircraft wasn't one of the SUV-sized drones people have been noticing, he maintained that nobody knows where the drones are flying over us and what they're flying over us for and where they're taking off from and landing. So this is a regular hobby drone like that, versus an SUV-sized one, which is
Okay.
what everybody is actually talking about. So this morning, Hurd made it clear that all residents should avoid any interaction with these drones, though it's tempting for us Jersey folks to take matters into our own hands. I think that everybody should be armed with a net gun and fire a net up at it. Or there are hawks that are trained now to go
There
and
you go.
get drones, and take them down. So I think that's what everybody should be. God forbid something happens and it crashes into a big drone, and the big drone crashes into a house and kills 6 people. That's going to be a problem, says Hurd.
Well, it is, but I'm surprised that no person has encountered one of these yet.
Maybe they have, and they're up in the alien mothership.
Maybe so.
Moving on, the next article is over in Non Sequitur News, which is a different one of our channels, but it's the name of the show. It's kind of fascinating how it works like that. Mystery orbs appear to hover over Minnesota sky. Sightings of strange lights in Minnesota skies follow recent reports of mystery drones above New York and New Jersey.
But this is really weird because it's not like the drones are moving over. Like this is a completely, appears to be a completely separate thing, right? Because it's not in the same region.
Oh, they may not be bound by geography. They could just blip from
I
one
know. I
dimension to
just
the
mean
other.
it's not like it's like crossing a city boundary or something and going like from New Jersey to New York or something.
It's a Chinese surveillance balloon sized orb. Nobody knows what these things are. So Emma Marsden over at Newsweek.com put this article together, and it says video footage uploaded by Fox News on Wednesday shows 2 orbs floating in the sky, eventually moving around before disappearing. And every time I hear that phrase, 2 orbs floating in the sky, just makes me want to make a... Anyway, I won't say it. I will filter. Anyway, later in the video, the orbs are shown hovering with lights blinking against the night sky. Are these UFOs? Are they a government thing? What are they? Says Chrissy Grady, Wagner's daughter, to Fox News, or being reported by Fox News. Nobody knows what they are. Nobody knows where they're coming from. Nobody knows where they're headed to. They just seem to disappear. I don't quite get it, but okay. Says it obviously sees me, Grady says in the cell phone video. I've got to pretend like I'm driving. They would come and then kind of like hover, and then they would go outside and they would leave, Grady added. So yeah, nobody knows anything. Just somebody needs to make a goo gun with a little Apple beacon on it, the little tracking things.
Oh,
Apple
right, like an AirTag?
AirTag, yeah, and just blop right onto it and let it fly. Go. Take your alien butt back home to the mothership. Let's see what you're doing. So the FAA received reports of a drone activity near Morris County, New Jersey on Monday. At the request of federal security partners, the FAA published 2 temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights over Picatinny Arsenal Military Base and Trump National Golf Club, Bedminster, which that alone might actually be impetus for a hobby drone operator to sit there and fly around. Drone operators who conduct unsafe operations that endanger other aircraft or people on the ground could face up to $75,000. In addition, we can suspend or revoke drone operators' pilot certificates. That
But we
everybody's
can't even
bound by that.
figure out who is piloting these.
Right. Yep. So there used to be somebody that would fly a drone around the mayoral mansion. And then I invited the drone to come and hang out, and I haven't seen it since. So I would be willing to follow the drone back to its base, and and have some words, but okay. Anyway, let's move on to our last article for tonight, and that is over at the Continuity Report, which is another one of our shows. It's going to be later today. Barbie 2 sequel reportedly in early stages of development. So what do we know about Barbie 2? Nothing. But we're talking about it anyway because that's
Well, it's
entertainment
one of
news.
the biggest movies, right? Barbie 1
Barbie.
was.
Yeah. So according to THR, that's not the Continuity Report. What is THR? Anyway.
The Hollywood Report,
There we go.
I
Thank you.
think.
Yeah.
A reporter, maybe.
Hollywood Reporter. Yeah. So Barbie 2 is in the early stages of development with filmmaking couple Greta Gerwig, who co-wrote and directed the original film, and Noah Baumbach, described to have hatched an idea for a new movie, with the pair already bringing it to Warner Brothers. However, in an interesting twist, reps for both Warner Brothers and Gerwig?
Yeah, I think that's a typo.
Typo there. Got a little G crazy. Gerwig and Baumbach said that there was no such sequel planned. There is no legitimacy to this reporting, said Gerwig. So I'm glad that we're perpetuating the...
Exactly.
No, apparently not. So the article is by Anthony Nash over at comingsoon.net, but it's actually from the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, they say... Baumbach is working on the upcoming film Jake Kelly for Netflix that Gerwig stars in alongside an all-star ensemble. While Gerwig is also working on a film for Netflix, her planned Chronicles of Narnia adaptation, which that should be freaking cool. I actually like the idea of it, but the original Chronicles of Narnia never really completed, and it was kind of blah. But I won't get into it. So the film followed the story of Barbie as she found her way into the real world and went on a journey of self-discovery through Barbie Land as a result. Other stars in the film included a whole bunch of people. So yeah, it was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Ryan Gosling, and won Best Original Song for Billie Eilish's What Was I Made For? Who, by the way, I guess last night, somebody threw a bottle from the crowd and hit her in the face while she was sitting on the stage singing that song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And like a trooper, just reset and continued the song. Yeah.
Wow.
But
a lot of artists, I think, would have just been like, I'm done.
Yep. I would have told the crowd to find that person. They should never be allowed in polite society again, a D-bag. Anyway, so I'm going to unpack from my retail packaging and just completely ruin the collectability of me. And that's going to put me in the front page of ohmtown.com. And I'm going to say bye, and so will the AI. You want to say bye, AI?
Good night, Ohmtown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News for December 13th. Stay tuned because you'll need to catch up with us on our Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition.
And later in about, I don't know, we're probably going to do it in about 14 minutes. We're going to do RealityHacker and...
then we have Wanted and then the Continuity Report.
Yeah, and then the Continuity Report is the third one. So, and that becomes reconstituted as the Saturday weekend edition of Non Sequitur News. But see you in about 14 minutes or so. Bye-bye.